season 2. I've finally seen all the episodes. And it's interesting. The last episode, I did not expect it to go the way it did. So, what are my final thoughts, Let's see. So, it's interesting. Let's start with the handler. She's the first one I'm thinking of. So, they essentially killed her twice in the first season. There were 2 things that happened that the handler should have died in season 1. And then they brought her back in season 1 to die again. And then they brought her back in season 2. So there were 2 circumstances that she should have died. And they brought her back, and then they focused on her as the main villain, coordinating everything in season 2. So they brought her back in this, in these unrealistic ways that now they brought her to the forefront. And I don't believe that they really killed her, because I feel like it's a missed opportunity if they truly killed her, if she's finally dead, if they brought her back just to make her a bigger enemy, just to kill her. I feel like, and maybe I just want it to be more reminiscent of my experience thus far, when it seems like they are shifting for season 3 to be a completely different dynamic, with them being in the future, but being in an alternate reality future where their dad said, yeah, those kids I met were insane, not adopting them. So now they've got this whole dilemma of not being their dad's kids, which could go any number of ways of what they're going to do, what they're supposed to do. Do they go back in time? Will that help? Where do they live? What's going on? How do they return to what was their normal life? How do they adjust to this life? Because they don't know where their versions of themselves are, where they live or anything. Also, I was thinking about them in this new timeline, in this new future, where they don't live at the academy. They don't live in that mansion anymore, so they don't have a home base place to meet together. And thinking, does anybody out of these kids, do any of them actually have something to go back to? Because Diego's lady died. Vanya, the only person she ever had was also the person who brought on the apocalypse and didn't love her, just weaponized her, and she murdered him. Pogo, in their reality, she also murdered Pogo in their reality, which may or may not, we don't know what that looks like in the future. So maybe he's in this reality. He should be in this one. But again, he doesn't know them. So it's like Pogo and their dad don't know them, don't care for them, don't love them. But I guess in the past, so then in that old reality, don't have dad, don't care for dad, but they have Pogo. They do love Pogo. What's his name? Luther. The only person he's ever loved is Allison, so he's fine as long as his family's together. He doesn't have anybody that he's missing. He doesn't have anybody from the old future. 5 doesn't have anybody, just his family. No future matters to him. His future was already a different future because of the whole commission. Klaus, the only person Klaus loved was when he got thrown back in time, so that's not going to change anything. He doesn't have anybody in the old future timeline again, just his family. So I'm thinking Allison is the only person that has somebody that has a family, that has a daughter to reconnect with from the old original future timeline of the apocalypse of season 1. She's the only one that has somebody that would need to get back to that old future that we see in season 1. So I'm sure they'll all want to for whatever reason, but it opens up a lot of possibilities to what that season will be like, which I much prefer compared to how season 1 ended, and I was so set on them being kids, and I also didn't know how far back in the past they were going. But this gives you an array of options. One option, well, it's not an option, this is what I don't like, is that, which I also think it doesn't make sense, that Ben had to die when he saved Vanya from creating the apocalypse again. Because no part of that whole scene made any sense at all that Ben would have the strength to go possess her, commune with her, and whatever, like, in her mind. I don't know where they were, like, what the heck that was, or how he could go. Yeah, nothing makes sense. And so it makes no sense that he would have to die either. And you see why they made him finally die, finally pass on, and not be a spirit that Klaus could communicate with anymore, which also doesn't make sense that there would be a point to which he could communicate with the dead and utilize the dead, weaponize them, and a point to which he wouldn't be able to. However, it's not a real thing. It's not a real power. So it's like, of course, it's going to be confusing, and you can just make this power willy-nilly what you want it to be when you want it to be that way. That's its own story. But I think it's such a missed opportunity that they didn't keep Ben in spirit form with Klaus, because, man, I would love to see dynamic in the 3rd season, because we see, he didn't meet Ben had died, so he still chose Ben as one of the kids that he adopted. So we see Ben in this alternate future timeline, which is exciting, but I think it's a severely missed opportunity that they didn't choose to also have Ben as a ghost communicating with Klaus and moving back and forth throughout the timelines with him, that he, suddenly passed on, whatever. But man, I think I would just love to see Ben with Klaus, with the other Ben. Missed opportunity, I'll say that. What else? First of all, it took 1.5 years from getting season 1 to get season 2. And now we know that they had to make season 3 this year. And this is 2020. So most likely it's going to be like 2 years or longer till we get season 3. I know they're going to make a season 3, but realistically, you can't be filming like normal. You can't be filming a show like this. It's not going to be possible to do it, because they might have been filming. No. There's no way. Ain't gonna happen. So we're gonna have to wait a long time for that. But I know it. I can't remember if there's anything else. I don't know. We'll find out.